Welcome to the Friday Fix. I'm Joe Linehan. I am president of Ullico Investment Advisor. And with me today is Ullico's president and CEO, Ed Smith. Ed
Hey,
Smith, welcome
Joe.
to the program.
Hey, thanks. I'm delighted to be with you. I think this, you correct me if I'm wrong, is our third episode of Friday Fix. Am I right?
That's right. This is the third one.
Yeah, I've enjoyed your other two episodes, and I hope I don't let you down today.
I'm sure you won't. No, thanks for joining us today. Why don't we just go ahead and jump right into it? Why don't you tell our viewers a little bit about yourself and, how you got started in the American labor movement and what interests you on the investment side of the world?
I tell you, Joe, I'm the most unlikely CEO you'll ever see because I bleed union. I'm a union proud union member, and my parents were my dad was the business manager of our local union my entire life. I actually took his place. I ran for office when he retired, and my mom was a union member. They met in World War II. She belonged to the machinists union. My dad belonged to the laborers, and she was shop steward at a defense plant. It's a great story, but the story is I heard about it my entire life, every day. And I don't mean that negatively. I mean it positively, because all the values, all the good things that unions did for our own family, and for all the families. My uncles were in the union. It was just that was the world that I came up in. And then when in the mid 70s, I went to work for the union in 74. In 75, in my local union, which was pretty small, we started what would be called today a defined contribution plan or an annuity plan. We called it a money purchase plan back in those days. And we set it up, did the trust document, had the lawyers draw it up. We had 6 trustees. I was one of them. This is 1975. And so I was fascinated, by that. This was, pensions and benefits are just deferred wages of workers, and so being a good steward of our union members' money was just part of the job. It came with the territory.
I see. Well, a trustee, that's a lot of responsibility and maybe a little thankless, but for the longest time, you were a buyer of financial services throughout your career. You joined Ullico over a decade ago. You became a designer and a provider of such financial services. How do you think about being a provider today versus being a buyer, in your earlier part of your career?
Joe, I'm so uniquely qualified because of this. First of all, I learned about Ullico back in the 70s, and I was fascinated by it. But here we being the labor movement, have our own company. And so I learned about it just by going to like the state AFL-CIO convention, and Ullico would have a booth back then. I'd always go get all the material, meet the people that worked at Ullico, and I remember us buying what you'd probably call an accumulation account. We bought a small maybe group annuity policy, whatever, back in the 70s. The guy's name was Frank Tocco. He was from St. Louis, and he came down. We had a trustees meeting. I remember us voting to give Ullico the allocation. We went to lunch afterwards, and it was a big deal. And I was so proud to be doing business with a company that was owned by the labor movement. So anyway, I've and fast forward from the 70s through the 80s, 90s, up until 2000s when I came to Ullico. I was always I not only enjoyed the work, and I enjoyed learning all of it, but I also knew how important it all was, to get it right. I also learned the power of our pension money. We were talking before we started filming here about a book called The North Will Rise Again by Randy Barber, was one of the authors. And I met Randy years ago, and it was about how we can, the labor movement's been under attack since the labor movement started. and I'm talking about it, and by nature will always be under attack. As we're talking right now, workers are voting in Alabama about whether to join the union with Amazon and stuff, and it's the constant David versus Goliath story. The workers trying to form a union, big companies, whether it was back with Andrew Carnegie or now Jeff Bezos or Walmart or whoever, trying to crush workers. So as I learned about, well, workers had power not only collectively by joining together, but they had power with their own money. And Ullico, J for Jobs, 1977, perfect example of that. How they could collectively combine their money, to create union jobs while all the time getting a safe, sound, a risk-adjusted return. Look, Warren Buffett said, Joe, it's not the return on capital, it's the return of capital. Don't lose your money. So as a trustee, don't do things that are going to put your members work too hard. We're filming this right now. I'm in Illinois. It's like 18 degrees out. Workers are out there hooking up power. People have lost their power. People are out working in this. Don't lose their money. Be good stewards of their money. And then the double bottom line, that's another term I use all the time. While you're investing that money to get a good return, you can use the power of that money to create jobs for union contractors and union members and union hotels, all the various things we invest in at Ullico. It's a wonderful story, and it really has proven itself over the years.
Well, now I'm glad you brought up the J for Jobs. I mean, that's been around, as you said, over 40 years. Has done a great job of delivering appropriate return to the investors as well as the economic impact. But a decade ago when you joined us, you were really the driving force behind us launching the infrastructure fund. And I think our viewers would be curious to just understand what prompted you to really kind of push that strategy forward for you.
Oh, Joe, let me tell you, I came to infrastructure. I was fascinated by it because here, let me just tell you in so many reasons. One, infrastructure is what my union did. We built roads and bridges and sewer and water and, along with the other building trade unions. So when you mention the word infrastructure, my antenna always went up. That's jobs. That's what we did. But I came at it when I first started in the early 2000s, seeing the Australians and the Europeans and Asians bringing money to America to buy and own infrastructure. So I came about it with my, I was alarmed about it because I thought it was going to be negative. I thought about, wait a minute, this is all going to be, there's not going to be any protection for workers, and in the United States, we build infrastructure, quite frankly, traditional infrastructure, roads, bridges, airports, things like that, with tax exempt bonds and public financing. So I was from wearing my union hat, I was worried about, was this work going to continue to be performed union? But then as I dug into it and I found, I said, wait a minute, if you do this right, if we can do it the Ullico way by adopting our responsible contractor language, protect workers, protect communities, I said, maybe we flip this thing and we can do it as a way to like J for Jobs. We can be a job creator, but here's the beauty of it too. It's 20 and 30 years. It's the life of that union member from that first apprenticeship class that new apprentice goes into, all the way through the career to that time they take their first pension check. Infrastructure matches that career, that liability, that 20 or 30 year time frame. So anyway, the whole concept of it got me very, very excited about it. And you're right. When I came to Ullico, that was number one on my priority list. I wanted to investigate and see if we could create an infrastructure fund, and because just thought, and Joe, you and I were there for the whole thing. It was a lot of pension funds have investment guidelines. They didn't have guidelines that allowed infrastructure. It was a whole new asset class. So we were there, you and I and Sonia Axter and Jeff Murphy and the whole team were there at the exactly the right time, to do this. And that's only going to grow and expand, and very, very exciting because it fits so many buckets of being that safe, sound, risk-adjusted return, job creator, good for communities. And quite frankly, every governor, the President Biden, every mayor, they all have two things. They've got declining and decaying infrastructure, and they haven't been able to find a way to solve it. And pensions are looking for return to meet their actuarial assumption. Infrastructure does both. It is such a perfect asset for Ullico to be involved in. You could tell from my voice, I still get very excited about it.
I'm passionate.
Because it just clicked with me about we can accomplish all of our goals with this. So anyway, it's fun to work on, as you know. You and I talk every day on this stuff, and it's really fun to work on.
Well, I mean, the alternative asset classes, obviously, they do a great job because they deliver appropriate return, but they have the economic impact, and certainly we embrace that. But how do traditional asset classes also factor into, that discussion for Joe, the American labor movement?
Yeah, well, just think about it. Every investment portfolio is always going to have that mix of stocks and bonds, equity and fixed income, and it's such a high percentage of it's always going to be. So what you have to be is you got to be very prudent, very careful, and our own fixed income product and team and everything is look. It's always going to be part of every portfolio. So union pension funds and public funds that are worker money, for us having a labor-friendly fixed income product makes all the sense in the world. They're going to be, we have outstanding performance, outstanding team, outstanding people, and it's just a no-brainer because who are we interacting with every day, Joe? We're interacting with those trustees, those union officials, and so we're solving a problem for them, and we work with the consultant community, and traditional assets are always going to be a big part. Infrastructure, things like that, are going to be a smaller piece, obviously, but it takes all of it to make a well-diversified portfolio, which is the key to not keeping yourself out of trouble in tough times.
Right. Very good.
Hey, Joe, let me ask you a question. So,
Sure.
So you're the president of the investment company, and you've spent your life at Ullico, and where do you see, like I said, you and I talk almost every day. Where do you see the investment company going?
Well, I think we obviously need to continue to take care of our current clients. Good asset management, good client service, doing the business right. That's certainly what will continue helping us within the mission here. But diversification is the key, as you just said. We need to continue to develop, new products, to serve our marketplace, and serve what the investment consultants are looking for as well. Look, we're 40 years into J, right? We're over 10 years into infrastructure. We're in fixed income for the last couple of years. We'll continue to finish off those products to a certain degree. But, we have some other product ideas, Ed, that we're working on.
Sure.
We're looking at them in the Ullico Investment Lab. So we're doing some research there. And,
I love it.
Stay tuned.
Well,
stay tuned.
Joe, here's the thing that we bring at Ullico is while we're I have met a lot of people more conservative than you, Joe Linehan. You know, you're pretty conservative. You run things conservatively, which I love that because again, you get the whole concept that we're protecting workers' money, but also when those products are being developed in the Ullico lab, they have the workers at heart too about doing that double bottom line. Absolutely, getting a safe, sound, risk-adjusted return, but also strengthening the labor movement for union employers and union members, and that's who we are. And you've proven it throughout your career. We're proving it now every day, and that's why it's so vital that we continue to grow Ullico. It's such a in my stump speech, which I get to give to the union conventions, and I love doing, is I said, there's no company in America, there's absolutely no company in America that is owned by the labor movement and serves the constituency, the purpose that we serve. It's Joe, you and I are long in our careers, but I know neither one of us can wait to get there every day. We're still as excited as we were the first day we came.
It's a vocation.
That's right. It absolutely is.
So, well, great. Hey, Ed, thanks so much for joining us today. And that concludes the Friday Fix with Ullico's President and CEO, Ed Smith. Thanks for joining us again, Ed.
My pleasure, Joe. Thank you.
Okay, and I want to also thank all of our viewers who tuned in for today's episode. And for more information, please visit us at ullico.com. Thanks much, everyone. Have a good one. We'll see you.